Hello, and welcome back to episode 20 of the Career Advice You Never Had podcast, where I provide you the career advice, education, and support you missed out on in your career journey. I'm your host, Angela, and today we are doing things a little bit differently, and this is going to be your chance to reflect and prepare for 2025. You can follow along on Spotify, or if you're more of a visual, jump onto YouTube and you can see the slides that I'll be going through. You can do this whenever you are drawn to reflect and prepare for 2025. This is going to be released at the end of November. So if you want to do it then, December, January, February, make sure that it's the right time for you. So let's get into it. Thank you for joining me for Reflect and Prepare 2025. As I mentioned, I'm Angela, and we're going to be going through this interactive workshop together. When we spend this time together today, it's about connecting you to the present moment. You'll be able to reflect on 2024, and you'll really get to take stock of where you are now. You'll get to set a one-word intention for 2025 and really prepare for the journey ahead. So make sure you have a notebook handy, a pen, a glass of water, a nice and quiet space, and you're ready to go. I always like to begin with a mindfulness activity. If you've done this in the past, I've made sure that we spend this time bringing you inward and allowing you to focus on reflecting and preparing. So wherever you are, make sure that you take this moment to get comfortable. Begin to focus on your breathing, and this is the activity that we'll be doing today. Just a simple focus inward, and I'll be guiding you through. If at any point you feel like shutting your eyes, you can do it sitting down, laying down, whatever you need, just to bring yourself right to the here and now. So I'd like you to notice, just as you're getting comfortable, how you're feeling in this moment as you begin to turn inward. Notice if any aches or pains are trying to draw your attention, if your mind is busy. Whatever you're feeling, it's okay. We're taking this moment now to just focus on your breath. It's amazing when we just stop and just take this moment to notice the breath that is always there as it goes in and out. Notice the widening of your rib cage with each breath as it expands and contracts. Notice as the tummy rises and falls with each breath. And hopefully with each one, you just soften a little bit more into where you are. As you send that breath all the way down to your pelvis, really filling up the whole entire trunk as your tummy fills up like that balloon. And then you let all that air go. Three more big breaths like that, blowing up like a balloon, all the way down to your pelvis, all the way up to the top of your shoulders. And then let that air go. And then as you come back, allow your breathing to settle into its natural rhythm. Just notice if there's been a shift within. And hopefully you're feeling a little bit more present, a little bit more focused within, so that we can continue on through this workshop. So taking out the notepad or the paper and the pen, and feel free if you'd like to listen through this first and then come back to the questions. You can do this however you like, whatever way you're drawn to. And we're going to focus in on 2024. So whenever you're listening to this, I'd like you to think back. 2024, January, February. I wonder, what were your intentions at that beginning point of the year? Did you set any intentions, goals? Did you have any aspirations? Did you have any plans you were really looking forward to? What were your intentions for 2024? Note that down. And feel free if you need to press pause just so that you can finish off what you're writing. Feel free. I'll keep going and you go at your own pace that you need to. And as you think back, this is a really good time to maybe look at a calendar. If you have a diary, just somewhere where you note down here, what did I do through each month of this year? What happened as I look back and reflect on 2024? And what went well? There may be natural things that come to mind that really stand out. And when we take this time and go back through each month, you'll really get a good feel of other things that may have just skipped that mind for the moment. So what went well in 2024? And what did you accomplish? This can be big, this can be small. I wonder, as you think back over the ups and downs of your year, what were your biggest accomplishments and also those small ones? Let's note that down. And we're going to continue to think of the year that was, that there's always things that went well, and there's always going to be challenges as well. So what challenges come to mind that you experienced in 2024? Once again, what naturally comes to mind as one of your biggest challenges? You may still be in a challenging time. Without judgment, just start noting down what you experienced and what you see as your biggest challenge. And as you are reflecting, what you might notice is that you will have experienced some type of change. Change is continual. Change can be expected, unexpected, slow burning. Maybe you can see it on the horizon. Maybe you've had that surrogate change where someone else has been through change and that set you through that same feelings that they're going through. Change is the situation. It's external. So I wonder, what changes have you had in 2024? And if you were to describe the type of change, the thing that I love about change is that it sets you off on this internal journey. Sometimes we notice it, sometimes we don't, because change can happen so fast. Yet the ups and downs emotional journey that if you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see the Kluber-Ross cycle. that's a bit like the grief cycle where we go through denial, shock, anger, bargaining, depression, understanding, acceptance in no particular order. And this shows that these are different stages that we go through in a transition. We move in, we move through, and we move out in our own unique way and time. And sometimes just knowing this and identifying where you are in your transition, so that emotional journey that you're going through because of the change that you've had this year. I wonder if anything comes to mind around where you might be at this point in time or what you've journeyed through in 2024. Take a moment to just think about the change you've been through and how that emotional journey has been for you as well, and where you may be at this point in time. Maybe you've had to say goodbye to something. Maybe you're still in that messy middle, bit uncertain, or you may feel like you are in that new beginning and you've had to reinvent yourself. I wonder what kind of vocabulary comes to mind around your change and transition for 2024. And taking into account the year that was, the ups, the downs, the achievements, the challenges, the change, the transition. It's also good to note, okay, back in the beginning, I had this plan for 2024 and these hopes and dreams. And sometimes we know that things don't go to plan. So I wonder if there was something that you were looking forward to, something that you had planned for, something that you had hoped for 2024, the intentions that you set, the goals that you set. I wonder, did anything stop you from fulfilling those as you come to this reflect moment? Was it something external that stopped you, or was it something internal? And no matter where you are at this point in time, you will have moved forward in some way from the beginning of the year. We change from day to day, week to week, month to month, and in a whole year, we can be a brand new person and stepping into that new beginning, or we may be stepping into a new phase of life. So I wonder, what has helped you through this last year? Again, is it someone external, something external, or was it something more internal that has helped you this year through your achievements, your challenges, your change, your transition? And what is the biggest lesson that you've learnt this year? What's that one takeaway? Let's note this down so that you've got record of the year that was. So well done on taking that time to reflect. And now I'm going to bring you to where you are now. So this is a chance for you to take stock. And if you've done this in the past with me, these are the 4 areas that I really like to tap into: your wellness, your career, your love, your play. And the rating is going to be 1 not so good or 10 is amazing. And on the next slide, I'll take you through them individually so that you can see, where do I feel like I am sitting within each area of my life. If you've done this previously and you have the numbers, it's always good to have a look back and see, has things shifted in some way? If not, if this is your first time, welcome. And let's see where this numbers sit for you. So the 4 different areas are love, wellness, career, and play. Feel free, if you would like to begin in a different area, you can. I'll just go through them as they are on the screen. And it's a really great idea to get an idea about, well, what does love mean to you today? It may be very different to what you were thinking 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. So what does love mean to you today? Does someone or something come to mind? Note this down or ponder on this as you think about, well, where do I sit on my ratings? 1, not so good, or 10 being, yeah, it feels really, really good around where I feel I'm at the moment. Where do you place yourself from 1 to 10? And continue on with wellness. What does wellness mean to you today? Wellness is a big area, and so there may be something in particular around wellness if we think of our spiritual, our mental, our physical, financial wellness. There's lots of different areas. There's lots of different areas to do with wellness. So what does wellness mean to you, and where do you sit on 1 to 10? Career. What does the word career mean to you today? And where do you sit from 1 to 10? And last of all, play. When we think of play, what comes to mind for you? What feelings, what thoughts, something external, something internal? And where do you rate yourself from 1 to 10? And now you've got your 4 numbers. We're going to go back and have a look. Without any judgment, which one is the lowest number? Which one is the highest? We're going to be really curious. And just like the image that I have on the screen, there's always going to be a gap. There's always going to be something that we are working on within ourselves. And I'm wondering, is there one particular area that you would like to be your focus when we think about 2025 and where you would like to put a bit more of that emphasis? What's really important so you can start closing the gap? Small little steps. And as we get into the rest of the session, remember your focus, because when we start setting our intention and even our next steps, it could also all be combined. And what you are doing will just naturally reduce the gap of where you are now and where you'd like to be. So where are you in this moment in your life? I love this sentence as a prompt. I'm at a time in my life when. What season are you in? What stage of your life are you in? And what's really important to you? Answering this question can bring to mind, really simply, the time of your life and what makes that really important for you to focus on. And just a little check-in. I want to make sure that you are at the center of your career and your life. This is about you making sense of your situation and begin to make those changes that really resonate with you and allowing you to build those career and life management skills that we need along our journey to grow and develop. So let's just check in. Are you at the center of your career, and is there anything that you need to do to place yourself, if it's within your life or your career? So anything that needs to be done for you to be in fully alignment with where you are today and where you'd like to be as well. Which brings us now to an intention. And so let's get thinking about intentions and get really clear on what they are. I love this image that if you're not on YouTube, I have intention sitting right at the top. And an intention is an inward approach that really guides you in the present moment. It gives you direction. It makes you feel really grounded in who you are, how you want to show up in the world every day, and live the life that's really authentic to you. It centers you in the process and your journey, which naturally then allows your goals, any opportunities and actions to be guided by this intention. So when we have this intention that we're going to be setting for you today, it's going to be summed up in one word. If you are new to this, it may take a little bit of brainstorming and trying a word on. You may begin with one and it naturally just forms into something else, which is really okay. What we'd like to do is, once again, just be really curious about, okay, is any words coming up? If I were to set a one-word intention about the way that I'd like to show up in 2025 and really align with all the different areas of my life and who I'd like to become by the end of 2024, is anything coming to mind? Well, if you have a spare sheet of paper or if you're in a journal, maybe flip to a new one to allow yourself the space to be able to do some brainstorming. So if anything's coming to mind, place it down in the center of your page. If you've ever done a mind map before, this is where we place a word at the center of the page and allow this word to then springboard other words. As you bring to mind the word that may be coming to mind, I'll flip in a moment to lots of different words. If you're feeling a little bit stuck, that's okay. What I might do now is I'll bring a few words to the screen. If you're on YouTube, there's probably about 50 words in front of us. And sometimes we just may need to see what stands out. There's lots of different ways that we can describe how we want to show up. For instance, there's words like focus, love, perspective, purpose, balance, bliss, challenge, appreciate, achieve, pause, opportunity, honesty, inspired, observe. There's lots of different ways that let's have a play with any of these words. As I mentioned, if I just go back, place it in the center of the page and then springboard from there any thoughts that come to mind, any words, any feelings. If it needs to be a sentence, write that down, any memories. We're just going to be really curious with that word to begin with. And we're going to pull it apart. And so if you need to press pause at this point in time, feel free as I just jump ahead. And when you feel like you've exhausted that particular word and sprungboard through the mind map and really brainstormed, let's just do a check-in. Out of all of that brainstorming, is there one word that really stands out? Sometimes we may have chosen one and it leads to other ones. You may have had to look up the meaning of words only because we want to make sure it's the right fit for you at this point in time. So what word really stands out to you? And we'll also just check in, what does this word mean to you? Hopefully it's got a little bit of an emotional pull for this word and what that would mean for your intention for 2025, that if you were to look at this word, it would draw up, hopefully, a particular feeling. And I wonder, what does that word feel like to you? Does it feel right at this stage? Does it feel kind of okay? Or you just not a bit, or you may not be sure, which is totally fine. As I mentioned, that sometimes we might need to try something on and it may change in the course of the next few days or few weeks, which is all good as well. So how does that word feel for you? Once you feel like you've got a word that you'd like to try on, we'll put it into a sentence. And this may need a little bit of tweaking, just depending on how we can put it into a proper sentence. I always like to have a sentence starter. My intention for 2025 is... Can you finish that sentence by placing that one word, intention, that feels right at this point in time? And then we're going to continue that sentence with a so that. So I've got an example. At the moment of this recording, the word grateful keeps coming to mind for me about 2025. So my intention for 2025 is to be grateful so that I can come back to what's important in each and every moment, reminding me what I do have and what I have done. So that's an example of my intention for 2025. What comes to mind for you? if you're listening into this, it's really good to actually write it down. There's something about writing where it goes from our brain through our hands onto the paper. So let's make sure that we've got our intention written down. And even that one word, I like to write it down on a few different separate sheets of paper, just small, like a post-it note. And that note can go in different places. You may have it on your fridge, on your mirror. I have it in a space that is my own space in my house, in your wallet. You could have it as a screensaver on a device, just so that when you see this word, it just reminds you to align to that intention. This sentence, store it somewhere so that you can remind yourself over time what your intention is. I often find that I'll write it at this point in time. And then when I go to do my mid-year review, that's when I pull it out and go, oh, wow, I sort of set that intention and just let it be free and do what it needs to do. So well done for getting that one word intention and trying it on from here. It's also good to have a look at your dreams for 2025. You might be a person that uses a different language to describe, well, what would I like to achieve in 2025? Maybe it's a vision. Maybe it's a goal. Maybe it's a plan for the future. Whatever way you describe it, I wonder, what does 2025 have in store for you? If you were to put that wish list out there, what would you like to be working towards? And I really give you permission at this moment to really dream big, create that vision, and step into that for just this moment as we prepare for 2025. And with that big dream or goal or vision in mind, let's get really curious where you are in relation to that, because we have to have a starting point. It'd be like when we took stock at the beginning of this. Let's just see where you are. So I've got my two little, my image here that has the ledgers. So the two ledgers remind you that we have a starting point. And where are you in relation to this vision? Are you at the very beginning? Have you taken steps forward? Are you almost at the end? I wonder, where are you? If you were to draw a bit of a timeline on your page, feel free, be creative with however you are being taken with this dream. And in 2025, let's think realistically as well. What would you like to achieve towards filling that gap and taking steps towards that big vision and dream of yours? So I've got this little bridge about, well, we have to take steps forward to actually get from one place to another, from where you are now to where you'd like to be. And I wonder, what would it take to get you where you'd like to be? So these questions here are springboards to just see what comes to mind for you around your big dreams for 2025. And it's very normal when we start thinking big for feelings and obstacles and memories of the past to maybe come up and get in your way somewhere along your journey. And we're going to prepare for them. We know that it's natural when we start taking steps forward that there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be challenges. And so let's prepare for them as best we can. I've got two different lists that you can create around, okay, if I were to think of three things that might get in the way of me taking steps towards where I would like to be, I wonder what three things might get in the way. What challenges might come up as you journey through the ups and downs of 2025? In the past, in this session, we've had words like time can get in the way. Responsibilities can get in the way. Fears. There's lots of internal challenges that might pop up, as well as external, money. So whatever three things are coming to mind for you about what's going to get in my way of me achieving what I'd like to achieve. Let's put it out there And then we're going to counteract those three that just came to mind, those obstacles, those challenges that may arise. We're going to counteract those and just say it was, okay, time. How am I going to fit in the time to do what it is that you want to do? Okay, to counteract that, can I really focus on my time management, my self-management? Can I schedule in 10 minutes each day to work towards my dream? So let's find ways around that. So whatever you've listed as obstacles, can you also find 3 ways that you can still work towards your dreams and your goals and your vision, despite what might get in your way? Maybe the word patience is coming to mind. Sometimes we have to be patient as well. Create space, create time, focus in on mindfulness, or making sure that you take care of part of your wellness so that you have the energy. There's lots of different ways we can counteract these obstacles. And hopefully you've got 3 or more that come to mind. And I love talking about strengths. They are really those superpowers that really guide your success, and that are those natural, innate abilities that when we're at our best and doing well, it's our strengths that are required. They make us feel engaged, successful, help us make better decisions, and use less energy as well. And sometimes our strengths may change that we need in each moment, week, year. And so we're going to identify, well, what 3 to 5 strengths will you need to help you through 2025 and really boost that confidence and getting you feeling really aligned and courageous. So what I'll do is I'm going to jump to the next slide. So in these sessions, if you'd like to do a strength analysis, there are a couple that come to mind. We've got the high 5 strengths tests, and also the VIA, which is your values in action, which is a lot to do with your strengths. Sometimes words come to mind around, well, what do I need to help me through the next year? So on the screen, there's, again, probably about 30 or 40 words. And I've also got my cards that I like to shuffle and draw out, just in case you want to take the thinking away. If I were to choose 3 strengths, feel free to, as I can just finish shuffling, I'm going to pull 3 cards, and feel free to take any of these strengths as what you'd like to. Sometimes we may need to develop a strength and activate it. Other times we just need to draw upon it. Okay, so the first one I'm going to pull out, isn't that funny? The word patience. So patience. Do you need to really focus in on patience for 2025 to help you align with your intention and take those steps? Self-confidence. So feel free to write down patience or self-confidence. And the last one is communication. Patience, self-confidence, and communication. So these are going to help you through 2025. And this is where we can start getting a little bit more detailed about, okay, if I were to spend a couple of moments now, I've really done my reflection. I know what things I've achieved this year, the challenges I've faced, what stopped me, what's helped me, the lessons that I've learned. I've drawn upon where I am now, the change I'm going through, the transition, the time in my life, and my intention. You've got that one word intention. You've checked in on different areas of your life, and you may have a particular focus. And so with all of that in mind, I wonder, is there a natural next step that when we think about, we can be quite small in, well, what could I do in the next 3 minutes, the next 3 days, the next 3 weeks, that could get me one step closer to filling the gap between where I am now and where I'd like to be. That would take me one step closer to that vision, that big term goal, that dream that I'm looking forward to in 2025. I wonder, what will you be doing? And if it needs to be small, as in what can you do in the next 3 minutes, that's okay. Because we want to make sure your confidence is quite high that you're going to achieve the next step. So for instance, when I think about the grateful intention that I'm setting for 2025, one way that I stay in tune with that each day is, and my next step is, I will continue to check in with myself at the end of the day and write 3 things that I'm grateful for. I can check in on the importance. How important is it? That's me every day. This routine and habit that I've created is bringing that awareness into my intention. So it's really important. I give it a 10 out of 10 in importance. How confident? I have been doing this for a long time, so I'm really confident that I'll keep doing that. And I will take that moment to really think about what I'm grateful for. So I feel really confident. I'd say, 9.5 out of 10 that I'll successfully achieve this. And yeah, how am I going to celebrate this? What I've found is that the celebration usually comes internal, and that, ticking it off, giving myself a little comment, drawing a beautiful little picture at the end of each day, just to celebrate and take those moments to notice when I've completed that next step. So there's an example of how you can go through the next step, create an I will statement, get as much detail as you can or need in this moment, and then rate yourself on importance, confidence, and how you're actually going to celebrate those wins. The more that we celebrate them and bring them to our awareness, the more that we're likely to continue them as well. So as we get really curious, we're almost at the end of the reflect and prepare, that your next step could also involve a whole lot of different ways that we can seek information and create behaviors that are those small steps. So and you might like to do this before you create your statement or after, and to help you in the future as well. We can observe, we can visit, we can listen, talk, write, read, Google, do, ChatGPT maybe able to help you as well. That when we take those small steps, it's us getting curious. It's about seeking that information. And the more that we step out, be curious and are open, it's amazing to see what opportunities come your way. So continue to take those small steps forward as you step into 2025. Which brings us to the end. So thank you for taking this time to reflect on the year that was, to take stock of where you are now, and to think about 2025. You've got your intention. You hopefully have your next step. I truly hope you found this episode helpful. I'd love to hear your reflections and what resonated the most with you. Remember to share this episode with those who are looking for some career inspiration, as there are many people who haven't had the career advice, education, and support they needed along their career journey, and I'm here to provide it. In the new year, look out for new episodes for the career advice you never had. And once again, thanks for listening. Your support is amazing. You are amazing. And together, we'll navigate this journey as you find your way, rediscover yourself, and focus on taking the next meaningful step in your career.